All right, so number 41, Avery is tracking the height of a plant that grows at a constant rate. Um, just a heads up, when we see things like constant rate, oh, that's going to be the slope. When you guys have your linear functions, things increase at a constant rate. That is the slope of a line that would represent the situation. After the second week, the plant is 7.5 centimeters high. After the fifth week, the plant is 16.5 centimeters high. What was the original height in centimeters of the plant, and how many centimeters did it grow per week? So they're kind of giving us two pieces of information here. They're saying that after the second week, the plant is 7.5 centimeters high. So let's go ahead and put that information into an ordered pair. After the second week, the plant is 7.5 centimeters high. So when we do that, we will just say, all right, so we put the 2 in for the x, so x is going to represent number of weeks. And then we put the 7.5 in for the y into that ordered pair. So y will equal the height in centimeters of our plant. All right, we continue to read. After the fifth week, the plant is 16.5 centimeters high. So we can make an ordered pair out of that. We're using weeks for our x variable, so fifth week, and then our y is the height, 16.5 centimeters. So what we're going to do is write an equation for this. We're going to want our slope and our y-intercept. Once we have that, it will be easier for us to answer these questions. So slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here's our x1, y1, x2, y2. So when we plug those in, y2 minus y1 is going to be 16.5 minus 7.5 over x2 minus x1, 5 minus 2. That's going to give us a 9. 16.5 minus 7.5 is 9 over 5 minus 2 is 3. And we're getting a slope of 3. So our slope is 3, and we were told that the plant grows at a constant rate and I told you at the beginning, constant rate is our slope. So 3 centimeters is the constant rate. That is going to answer the question, how many centimeters did it grow per week? It's growing at a constant rate of 3 centimeters per week. So I guess we could go ahead and answer that. The plant grows 3 centimeters per week. Okay, so to figure out the original height in centimeters of the plant, that's going to be the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is when your x is a 0. So when our number of weeks is a 0, the y will be the height of the plant. So how tall was the plant at 0 weeks at the start of this whole thing? So to find the y-intercept, we are going to use slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Let's use this first ordered pair right there. We have an x and a y, and we know what our m is. So we're going to plug in a 7.5 for the y equals our slope m is 3. And then we're going to plug in a 2. Again, we're just getting the 7.5 and the 2 from an ordered pair. You could have used this ordered pair. It doesn't matter. Any ordered pair on the line will work. And then plus, and we're going to solve for that y-intercept. 3 times 2 is 6, so we have 7.5 equals 6 plus b. We will subtract 6 from both sides, and b, which is our y-intercept, is 1.5. If we wanted to write the equation for this, it would be y equals 3x plus 1.5. But to answer the question about the original height, that's when your number of weeks is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, leaving us with that 1.5. So the original height of the plant is 1.5 centimeters. All right, number 42, we are going to graph some lines. Now, these are kind of special. hopefully we can tell that they look a little bit different. Y equals 3, what we notice is you only have one variable. You have the y but not the x. This equation, x equals -3, you have the x but not the y. So when you have an equation with a single variable, this is going to be your horizontal or your vertical lines. So to start off, we can say, well, where does y equal a 3? So let's go to the y-axis to a +3, and we can plot a point right there. This point is on our line. And then we want the line that has every single ordered pair with a y value of 3. And another way to think about it is we want to draw the line that crosses through or passes through the axis, the y-axis. So if I draw a vertical line, I'm going to cover up the axis. I want to draw the line that passes through the axis. So that's going to be a horizontal line. And then what I said before about every single point on this line has a y value of 3. If we think about that, you know, this point right here, we would go over 1, up 3. This point right here, over 3, up 3. This point over here, to the left 3, up 3. But you see how we're just going up 3 the whole time? Every single point on this line has a y value of 3, so we just need a basic equation to represent that. All right, our next one, x equals -3. So we know that we need the line where all the x's are a -3. Let's go to our x-axis this time to a -3 and plot that point. And then the line that is going to cross through the x-axis is the one we want. So horizontal would cover up the x-axis, vertical would cross through it, but it's also the line where every single point has an x value of -3. So if you go to the left 3 and up or down, you know, you get this point, this point, this point, or you go to the left 3, down 2, to left 3, down 4. So all of those points have an x value of -3. All right, number 43, finding the x and y intercept of a line. So the x-intercept we find by plugging in a 0 for the y and solving for x. So -2x, so here's our x-intercept. -2x minus 7 times 0 equals 112. The reason why we plug in a 0, if an x-intercept is a point that's on the x-axis, any point on the x-axis has a 0 for the y-coordinate. So we can plug in a 0 for the y-coordinate. 7 times 0 is 0, leaving us with -2x equals 112. And then we will divide by -2, and we get an x-intercept of -56. Now the y-intercept is where our line hits the y-axis. So every point on the y-axis has a 0 for the x-coordinate. So we can find a y-intercept by plugging in a 0 for the y. So -2 times 0 minus 7y equals 112. Well, -2 times 0 is 0, so that simplifies away, leaving us with -7y equals 112. Divide by -7. That -7 divided by -7 simplifies to 1. 1 times y is y, and then that gives us 112 divided by -7 is -16. So we look at our options. Do we have one that says x-intercept is -56 and y-intercept is -16? And that is choice D. All right, so now we don't have options to look at. Let's find the x and the y-intercept. So the x-intercept is when we plug in a 0 for the y, because we want to find the x, so let's keep the x, plug in a 0 for the y. 2 times 0 is 0, leaving us with 10x equals 20. Divide by 10, divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1, leaving us with x equals 20 divided by 10 is 2. So our x-intercept is 2. Sometimes I like to write that as an ordered pair because it is a point. So the x was a 2 and the y was a 0. So it actually is the ordered pair 2, 0. All right, now the y-intercept we find by plugging in a 0 for the x. So 10 times 0 plus 2y equals 20. 10 times 0 cancels, it equals 0, so it simplifies away. 2y equals 20, divide by 2, and we get a y-intercept of 10. But we can write that as an ordered pair. The x was a 0, the y is a 10, and our y-intercept is the point 0, 10. All right, number 45. The grocery store sells dates for $4.50 a pound and pomegranates for $3.50 a pound. Write an equation in standard form for the weights of dates, D, and pomegranates, P, that a customer could buy with $18. So if we take a look at our options, well, actually, let's talk about it before we look at our options. We're spending, or a customer is spending $18. They're going to buy pomegranates and dates, right? So your number of pomegranates times what they cost plus your number of dates, I think I'm writing this backwards, times what those cost will equal the total cost. So that's kind of what we're figuring out, but I think let's talk about the dates first. So dates sell for $4.50 a pound, and they said that we can use D to represent the weight of the dates. So we're going to do $4.50 times every pound of dates. We're also going to buy, so we're going to add our pomegranates, cost $3.50 a pound. So $3.50 times every pound P of pomegranates, because they told us that was our variable to represent that. And that's going to equal our total cost of 18. So if we look at our options, two of them are very similar, C and D. And for some reason, a D and a P, my brain kind of mixes those up a little bit. So we just want to look carefully. Which one has 450 times the D? This one is 4.5 times P. This one is 4.5 times D plus 3.5 times P equals 18. So option C is the correct one that you want. And that is standard form. That's your AX plus BUI equals C. That's standard form formatting right there.